How do you explain what market value is? Is it about a chap named Spencer and the government 113 years ago in North Fremantle? Hello and welcome back to Weekly Buying Tips. I'm Dean Berman from Berman Buys. When we think of market value, and by market value I'm talking about what someone will pay for your property, we have this conception of what it is: comparable sales, market sentiment, the vibe. But really, what is market value? It's simply two sides agreeing, shaking hands and saying yes sir or yes ma'am. I agree with your price and you agree with my price. Willing buyer, willing seller. What some might not know is this underlying theory was developed between our friend Spencer and the Commonwealth in 1907. Here's Spencer. I don't know much about Spencer, but let's just say he was a good bloke. I'm going to speculate he may have had a big bushy beard, a nice tie, a suit and a top hat. And here's Spencer's land. This should set the scene. It's in North Fremantle, approximately 10 miles from Perth. It measured 6 acres, 1 rood and 2 perches. In modern day standards, I believe this was over 25,000 square meters. I mean, the land didn't even have grass on it. It had no improvements on it except a picket fence on the boundary. It wasn't very glamorous land. Our friend Spencer was one day happily minding his own business when he was delivered a letter. It looked very official. Dear Mr. Spencer, on behalf of the Commonwealth Government of Australia, we will be compulsory acquiring your land for the sum of £2,641. Regards, the Commonwealth Government of Australia. Mr. Spencer was shocked and saddened, and rather insulted by the meagre sum offered by the government. What does someone do when they are insulted by the government? Court time. Mr. Spencer believed his land was worth £10,000. In today's standards, $1.692 million difference. A vast difference to the sum offered. I can understand why he was a bit angry. He believed the sum offered was unjust. So how do you work out the land value back in 1905? The court ordered 10 expert witnesses to do so. 5 for Mr. Spencer and 5 for the Commonwealth Government. Values vary between £2,066 to £8,400. A difference of over $1.4 million in today's standards. The court decided, based on these expert valuations, that Spencer's land was worth £2,250, even less than he was initially offered. Mr. Spencer was outraged now. Now it was the time for the High Court of Australia. There may have been arguments and baton beatings at the time, but in the High Court, something very interesting happened. A definition emerged by the judge, which went something like: prudent, willing, but not anxious, buyer and seller. What does this mean? Prudent, implying savvy and businesslike, almost unemotional, purely numbers focused. Willing, maybe that means they would do it, but only if it made sense logically. And anxious, meaning they wouldn't just buy or sell only if it was right and made sense. And if we put the three together, it's saying that the buyer and seller need to be businesslike in their approach and base their decisions on numbers and logic. And when that happens, you will have a willing buyer and a willing seller. Once this principle was applied to Mr. Spencer's land, he was awarded £3,082. We learn many lessons from Mr. Spencer versus the Commonwealth. You have asking prices, guide prices, offers. But at the end of the day, it's about two parties agreeing in an unemotional and businesslike manner. I will finish on one point. Buying or selling property can be one of the most emotional processes a human will go through.